If I could just go back. If I could rub everything out, starting with myself. Starting with borrowing a jacket.
Oh, such fleeting paradise.
Oh yes, jazz.
This is Film Sack. Oh, sure.
Hello, and welcome to Film Sack. This is Film Sack, mining the very depths of film entertainment for all mankind. This is episode 690. I'm Scott Johnson, joined today by Brian. Pretty sure this is Saltburn set in the 50s Dunaway.
Oh, smart. Oh, hi. This week on Film Sack, we float our little Italian boat out to the open sea for some hot guy-on-guy action that starts out horny and ends with a paddling to the death when we confront this 1999 psychological thriller about the insert adjective here, Mr. Ripley, now impersonating a more likable movie on Paramount Plus, Jazz Hands. Anywho, everybody should have one talent. What's mine? Forging signatures of guys named Dickie, telling lies, mostly to myself, but also to other people. Once I lied to a cup of coffee about how good it was. It was not. Also, I can impersonate practically anybody as long as they sound like me with a little lower or higher register. Yeah, I know that's 3. And sure, nobody should have more than one talent, but I need the attention. Gimme. Randy? I wear the Speedo as is the style of the locals. Pigment shaming be damned. Rub it all out, Randy. Rub it all out.
Pignant. I like that.
Pigment shaming.
Yeah, it's good.
Pigment.
I like it. Also with us, Randy. I want to get in your tub, just not in it with you, Jordan.
Aloha, Scott. Brian, thank you for coming to the police precinct at night. Now, listen to what I have to say. I've called you all together because we're going to go pick up our suspect, and we don't want him to know we're coming. So we're going to use a very bright blue light on our cars. Do you understand? Very bright blue light. I want him to have no chance to know we're coming. And, because he would slip out through one of the 71 windows in his hotel. Furthermore, if he does get away, we'll just punt our investigation to police in a different city who haven't met our suspect. It will all work out as long as you follow my 3 rules. Number 1, if you don't find any pictures of either the suspect or the man who is mysteriously not living with him after living with him for months, just stop trying to get pictures. That's probably not important. Number 2, whatever you do, don't ask around beyond the cleaning lady and the drunk couple in the street. We want to get our facts straight, yes, but we also want to do as little actual police work as possible. Number 3, please do not acknowledge the existence of homosexual love in Rome, home to the Catholic Church. Forget I even said that. Joseph, don't look so hurt. We'll talk about this later. Stop looking at me like that with your beautiful man eyes.
Dragging old Mary statues out of the river. Let's get it going here, folks. All right, with us finally, Brian. Find someone in your life who hates jazz as much as Herbert Greenleaf does Ibbot.
Oh, I hate jazz. Yeah, all right, right into it, because there were really no other songs that I thought of that really would have worked. So this is the one I went with.
Do Dickie's my favorite.
Do Dickie.
Very nice.
Wow.
Do
you ever when we're going to do a movie and you hear the title, one of the tricks you use is to look for a rhyme and go, let's see, we got songs like that, Dickie, Nicky, Ricky, you know what I mean?
Sometimes, yeah. Some recent ones I've done that with, where I just I'll even go so far as to use Smart Playlist in Apple Music and say, all right, give me, tell me other songs, or tell me songs that end with URN for like Saturn 3 or Spy Game. Give me, songs that end with AME. For this one, it was the only other song that I thought of was You're a Mean One with Mr. Grinch, and it was your talented one, Mr. Ripley. And I played around with some lyrics in that and just never came up with anything that I liked. And then
Not seasonal.
then I started thinking Dickie is like, oh, Dickie,
Yeah.
Mickey, perfect.
Yeah. No, that's
Perfect.
cool. I think I just always like a little peek under the hood as to how you make these things or how you
And
come
you
to
know how I love telling you this every time I do a song. Tony Basil's Mickey is also a cover.
Oh
The
my
original
gosh.
song was a song called Kitty, which some of the words rhyme better with Kitty. You know, oh Kitty, you're so pretty, can't you understand? And it was written from a guy's
Was he-
point of view of this woman,
Oh.
like this girl kind of leaving him hanging.
Oh, a lady named Kitty, not his kitty. I got you.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
Not his actual Kitty.
No.
that's too bad.
So is that an old song, like something in this era, like 50s? Because it sounds kind of beboppy.
80s,
No,
or 79, and
Interesting.
didn't have the whole like cheerleader cheer angle to it. It was just oh Kitty, you're so pretty, can't you understand? You something treat me like a man or whatever it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
You didn't want to do any jazz? Just put your ass in there.
skip diddly bap bap. I thought about that too. I actually thought about My Funny Valentine doing something off of that.
Yeah,
so I
that'd
could
be-
get
that'd be good.
Damon singing that, but
Yeah.
I would have delved into my because Elvis Costello does a great cover of that, so I would have had to do the My Funny Valentine.
That would have been a downer. I'm glad you didn't. Good job.
It would have taken like 4 minutes to get one verse out.
Yeah.
Well, the movie is The Talented Mr. Ripley, and we have a fake Fletcher to help explain the whole damned thing.
On this week's Film Sack podcast, we head to late 1950s New York, where a young underachiever named Tom Ripley is sent to Italy to retrieve Dickie Greenleaf, a rich and spoiled millionaire playboy. But when the errand fails, Ripley takes extreme measures.
What?
What?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't actually listen to this week's until now, so that was fun. I decided to surprise myself. I had no idea.
Was that your Discord password or something that was at the end of that one?
I don't. It ends with. What's the word it ends with? It ends with extreme measures. That's it.
Measures. Okay, it's measures.
But he says it is weird because he says measures and then says that.
And then says it again. Yeah.
I don't get it, man.
Weird.
Yeah, I've stopped trying to figure out what it means, and I just look forward to having it fall apart further every time we do it. The movie is that, as we mentioned before, The Talented Mr. Ripley, a movie I never saw, and I think I avoided it for reasons that now have become clear to me. I hate movies like this. I hate them. I hate them so much. I made the Saltburn reference earlier for a reason, but this idea, this concept of characters, and it's not any of the actors. This is a masterfully made film, well acted by everybody, based on what apparently is a really popular original story by Patricia Highsmith, super interesting author. This is director Anthony Minghella, I think is how you say it, known for all kinds of cool stuff. There's nothing wrong with any of this, right? It's just, I hate I didn't like anybody in this movie at all. All of them sucked.
Not even Peter Smith Kingsley. I feel like he's
he's so likable.
He's like just like he gets pulled into all this shit without any.
You don't realize until the end, but Cate Blanchett's character is also very likable, and she has the crappy role of having to go along with what she's been told. And like the entire movie, she keeps popping in and she doesn't understand anything because she was lied to initially.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm with Scott though, man. I could have used 100% more of Meredith Loge and also more Peter. Give me more Peter. But I was the same
Everybody
way.
else, and even Gwyneth Paltrow. It's like, you want to feel bad for, but she basically enables Dickie Greenleaf, and you can't really like her because she likes Dickie and isn't wise enough or care enough about herself to see through his bullshit.
Yeah, and sometimes her scenes are very empathetic, and then they turn immediately and become very, vanity based and sort of like, oh, my book and my chapters and Dickie and all.
Right.
It's just like, all right, you guys all kind of suck.
As everybody else.
Everybody here just kind of sucks, and they're some of my favorite actors. The minute you see somebody like James Rayborn or Philip Baker Hall walk onto a set, or Philip Seymour Hoffman, you're like, yeah, dude, we got the real money, we got the real bang for our buck here. And then they all play these characters I just want to push off the edge of a cliff.
Talk about. I mean, the quickest one for me is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
You don't even get a second of Philip Seymour Hoffman before you hate him.
Yeah.
Just him pulling up. Don't you just want to have every person you see or whatever he says?
Doesn't park anywhere that makes sense. Just parks.
Right. People have to jump out of the way. Flock of birds have to fly out really quick.
Yeah.
I can't stand
Gwyneth Paltrow was spectacular in this. Like, what a fun role for her to be so right. To like, she's having fun all through the first half of the movie, and then all through the second half of the movie, she knows exactly what went down, and she's the only one that's willing to say it. And gosh, man, in the end, when she is just like livid, it was awesome. I was really, really impressed that they got that out of her.
Yeah, and she was beating on. That was pretty good.
I feel like I was kidnapped, and this is probably intentional. I feel like I was kidnapped by Matt Damon, Tom Ripley, and I was forced to watch every dumbass thing he did. And that's the thing I find exhausting about these kind of movies. And I just can't. I want to enjoy them for the story and everything else that's going on, but I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah.
I want you to know,
you almost think that the director is trying to make you feel bad at times for Tom Ripley, and maybe the book does that, but
you're supposed to relate. And
right, he literally works in a bathroom at the beginning of the movie, and you're supposed to relate to that because it's very frustrating to him. He goes and peeks in on the stage show that he's working in when the bathroom's empty, and you're supposed to go, this guy's great. They immediately turn over to the portrayal of him being devious. And so it kind of fizzles. You don't get to keep that feeling, that initial feeling.
And I think I would probably like the book because they didn't get to explore the things that they wanted to explore here, like the idea of the homosexuality having to also be kind of a, you're not really being yourself, and they would have an opportunity to play with all that stuff in a wider sense. Instead, here I'm just going, oh, Jesus, he's going to kill somebody else. Oh, here it comes. He's going to kill somebody else. And so I think I would have enjoyed reading the book and maybe go back and read the books eventually, but I could set it down. I just felt like I was trapped. It's like, oh God, can I just please, I need a break.
I'd recommend, and I'm going to try and do this as little as possible because I could gush on and on about it. But instead of the book, go watch the 8-episode Netflix series Ripley,
that just hit.
Because it is, if you hate everything about The Talon Mr. Ripley, the movie, I think everything that you hate about that one is what you'd love in this one. The characters are much more way less despicable and vapid and one note, two-dimensional. Dakota Fanning plays Marge, and she seems so much more intelligent as a character than the Marge in the movie. Same with Dickie Greenleaf. Same with and your Ripley, your Andrew Scott Ripley he's a con man from the beginning. It isn't something that he just kind of accidentally does like he does in this movie. You come into a character that is already established and knows what he's doing with forging checks and knowing, doing
this is the origin story from the book that continue on the Tom Ripley. So this is kind of like series, his backstory, how he starts.
Yeah. Right. So is it like, so the whole thing's in black and white? Do I have that right?
Whole thing's in black and white, and you forget so quickly that you're watching black and white because the
robbed me of all my joy with your black and white.
You're still getting great, incredible cinematography, and you're just seeing it through a black and white filter, and it still is gorgeous, and you forget that you're watching black and white after a while. It's hard to explain, but I like it as a technique. I think it's great. And it works so well because obviously stuff is taking place in the 50s, and you want it to or early 60s in this case.
Seems
Scott,
like
I've been wondering if you would have liked this movie a little more if the Jude Law character had been played by someone that could also have some lines that make them seem a bit more likable.
Maybe. I don't think that's the biggest problem with it. I think Ibbott kind of just illustrated it. It feels like the kind of story that needs more breathing room. It's just too quick. And even though this is kind of long, 2 hours, 15 minutes, it's still just a film. And to take a movie that is supposed to be a larger character study, and cram it into 2 hours, I think is hard.
Yeah, how many characters do we have here? We have so many freaking characters.
And I like Jude Law. I like him a lot, but as you're
getting to know these characters in this movie, you don't realize that Ripley's a serial killer, and and like your instant reaction to especially Jude Law as this character is, well, I hope he gets killed. Like it's just like it's way too fast. You just hate him and don't care what happens to him.
Yeah.
Right.
And Jude Law has such a punchable face, and I just
you know what though? I like Jude Law a lot, and that it's less about his lines and Jude Law looking the way he does, and more about just his actions, the way he treats Marge when. Almost as a prize, the way he impregnates Sylvia and then doesn't do anything when she kills herself except just like get angry and why doesn't somebody call an ambulance, and it's less his lines and just more him, his character, and I don't mean his character as in who he's playing, it's the character of Dickie Greenleaf. The lack of character.
The lack of character. Sure. I mean, it's supposed to be a complicated guy, someone who's kind of a douche, but in the end doesn't deserve to die by, rowboat smashed to the side of the head.
Exactly.
Somebody row in your face. Yeah, that's not great.
Let's get that out of the way early.
Gross.
I usually don't get grossed out by special effects, but there's something about that big gash and it being a gash for a moment or two before it bleeds. Something about that, dude.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
And the blood dripping into when he's over Tom Ripley strangling him after he's been hit with the oar, and he's dripping his blood into just on his mouth. I'm like, that had to be it. I wrote that down.
Just a nasty scene. It's just really
Dickie blood.
It's really well done because it's also
I was impressed that the movie became self-aware about the gore, because after the bludgeoning with the bust, you're like, oh wow, what's his next murder going to look like? And they don't show it to you at all. All. You even barely hear it. And I thought that was really cool. It was
you mean the killing of Freddy or the killing of
the killing of Freddy is gory, right? Like you have a bust that bashes his head in.
Yeah.
But then the final killing of Peter
Smith Kingsley
is completely off screen. Yeah. And like I just felt like that was a really cool artistic touch. Like you can't go farther than we already have. Let's make it. And it's extremely personal. A choking in a man's bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just was.
And the fact that he's choking, someone more on his level to climb the ladder, right, Peter?
Yeah, that's almost like they were soulmates. He just didn't freaking realize it at some point.
Because he had two choices, right? He could either, because he couldn't allow the two worlds to collide.
He had
to choose between the worlds,
right?
Yeah,
Meredith
which is or Peter.
Meredith. Sorry, Meredith.
So
Meredith interact, and especially since she's like, "Oh, did I see you with Peter Smith Kingsley? Oh, great."
Yeah. Just this whole back and forth of you're trying to run from your duality, and to do that, you have to make these split decisions in very dark moments, and it ends up killing somebody every time. It's just the biggest douche in the world.
He didn't have to stay in that world. That was the first time he was like, I think you were really starting to see, oh, okay. Everything else kind of came at him. This, he made a decision.
Yeah.
And
that's a good way of putting it.
The path.
But boy, they just, again, everybody doing their top work here. Everybody sucked. I hate everybody in it. They're just all bad. They're all characters I can't stand. And it's just this kind of movie. I don't like, especially I love a serial killer movie, like somebody where you don't know what he's doing next. I'd love, watch something like Seven and like, what's he going to do next? Oh, there's a pattern and we figured it out. It's his biblical level thing and all this stuff. That's fine. But when I'm seeing it through the eyes, essentially, of the killer and the douche and the grifter and all those things,
right?
I just the whole time I'm like, I'm never gonna relate to you or like you ever in this.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing he could do.
I'm never gonna feel bad for you. Never gonna feel like, oh man, how I hope he gets out of this. When Marge confronts him about the rings, and it's like he doesn't have an answer, and he's like, "Oh, let me just came out of the bath, Marge. Let me give you a chance to think of an answer to that."
And then he's looking for something sharp, And it's like,
Right.
it takes him like 10 minutes to realize there's a razor in the bathroom where he shaved.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Just like all these, you're constantly painting yourself into a corner. And I hate like regular people that do that, not in this extreme way, but people who constantly have to, like they'll tell a lie and then heat is on, so they have to reinforce that lie until they almost believe their own lie. And they make up other lies on top of that. And then those now add to the complexity of your freaking lie web. I hate it in real people. I can't stand it in
really hate. I hate this in comedies. I hate it. And I've look, like romantic comedies, I typically avoid, not because of all the mushness, but because I know that towards the third act, at the end of the second act, someone's lie is finally going to be revealed, and there's going to be, a heartbreak before they can get back together. And I hate that so much. And that's what this is. Just a constant, here comes the lie.
It's the trope, basically that scene where he is going to meet Meredith at the cafe before he leaves Rome or whatever. Right. And then he sees Marge and Peter there. It feels like, oh my God, this is the trope, the sitcom trope of the guy who has 2 prom dates at the same restaurant, and he has to keep going back and forth between each table and keeping both plates spinning back and forth to make sure that and
in real life, I can't stand when somebody gets caught in a lie. Oh my God, it's so uncomfortable for me when somebody gets caught in a lie, and I don't want to be there. So it's like, oh Jesus, get me out of here.
That's the feeling.
I don't want to see this person.
That's the feeling of the whole movie. Exactly. I don't know why you and I see so eye to eye on this one, Dunaway. It's unusual.
Right.
Usually we kind of have differences and stuff, but this one,
right,
for whatever reason, like I say, I know it's competent. Not only competent, it's excellent. It's really well made. I think this is why I avoid a lot of Hitchcock movies, because I like Hitchcock. Some of them I really like, but a lot of them are like this, where it's like, oh man, I hate him. Do I have to follow him for 2 hours? And he's terrible. Like I don't want to. It's just not my kind of story.
I don't like neither of these strangers on a train. How am I supposed to enjoy this movie?
Yeah, it's just hard to do.
I don't want to make sure we don't stop short of talking about how absolutely gorgeous this movie is. Cinematography is spectacular. It got nominated for 5 Oscars, and none of them was best cinematography. And I was just like, what is happening in 2000? And so I went and looked it up. I was like, what movies had better cinematography than this one, according to the Oscar voters? And the answers were American Beauty, The End of the Affair, The Insider, Sleepy Hollow, and Snow Falling on Cedars. 3 of those I agree with, but I'm just like, how did they not nominate this movie for best cinematography?
Beautiful. You're not wrong.
Right. Another thing that probably hurt this movie is probably because those people would have been the people who had watched Purple Noon, which was, so they would have been comparing visually this and Purple Noon is a gorgeous film.
Well, and also watching it in 2025, we have the benefit of more than 2 decades of movies that came after it, where we're like, we think of Matt Damon very differently than we did in 2000. In 2000, these guys, everybody in the movie are like these young people that moviegoers don't really know. So this might feel like a little too fresh a take on the story.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good point though. Like a lot of these guys, I know we had Good Will Hunting was a big deal for him, obviously, star-making thing. And he's about to, and he's about to go on a real run here, and be in everything from now on, basically, and start even producing in the next year or so. But Jude Law, I always think Jude Law is kind of eternal and never was gone, but this is still pretty early for him. And you're right.
The trivia kind of said he wasn't even really interested. He turned it down in the beginning. Was like, nah, I don't know.
He said, according to the trivia, you're right. But he ended up doing it because him and that director worked together a lot, and he likes him, I guess, and wanted to. But it is weird to get killed. Jude Law is killed off like before the halfway mark. Like it's
right at the halfway mark, right? It's like right before the halfway mark.
Yeah, I was surprised
because that's when I looked and said, "Shit, it's like another hour and something go."
I did too. I went, "Oh my gosh, this movie's going fast. All right, let's go. This is a nice clip." And then I paused it and went, "Oh shit, we're at halfway. What are we doing here?" And then my brain went, "You know what we're doing here, Scott? It's going to be another 45 minutes to an hour of everybody being terrible to each other."
Yeah.
And I just, it's hard. It was hard for me, you guys.
The only thing I want to complain about the casting, and it's only because I imagine that the impersonation part plays an important role in the book, and I'm like, Matt Damon does not do a good impression of anything, and that's not his fault.
I'm James Reborn. Hey,
right.
Oh, and the additional voiceover that they were using in those sequences was so great.
Yeah.
It was so ham-handed, right? You could see.
But he was perfect for everything else. I just feel like they couldn't portray that. You just kind of had to accept it. It's like, okay, we got a really good, likable person that you can get on his side, but his impressions aren't great.
Yeah, it was like a little kid going, "Look what I can do," and everybody going, "Oh, that's great, Billy!" Like,
right, good for you.
Yeah. It wasn't that good. It was okay, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
I don't think he sounded like James Rebhorn, however you say his name.
Rebhorn.
No.
Rebhorn.
Big Seinfeld reunion, by the way. You got Rebhorn, Philip Baker Hall, and who's the other? There's a third actor. Anyway, they're all.
Gwyneth Paltrow ever on Seinfeld?
I don't think so. But those other two were in just recently. They were part of that finale that people didn't like them, but like now. Anyway, Rebhorn was the judge, and Philip Baker Hall was the library card cop guy.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I love those guys. They're great.
The thing that I did like, one of the themes that I really dug, because I loved jazz album covers, and I liked how they played a little bit with that here with some of the visuals, especially in the openings. How they really made a nod specifically to like a few jazz albums.
And one of the subplots of the movie is that in the late 1950s, you either still like opera or or now you hate it. You either like the new jazz or you hate it. And everybody has to declare their allegiances.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah.
It was like the disco when it was out. It's like, you discoing? No?
Yeah. And they have to go in that little listening booth. I like the listening booths. Those were cool.
Oh, man.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I guess that's what you did.
I mean, it's not like I was like, I didn't realize they had that back then, but it makes sense. But, we had the Sam Goody listening booths, right? That's what we had.
Yeah, they weren't really I guess they're kind of booths, right? Sort of.
Yeah. They're like little, like stalls, more like stalls, right?
God, they were just, for me and mine, they were just like this pair of headphones hanging on a hook. There was no, you weren't getting away from where everybody else was at.
With no concern for hygiene or anything.
No,
just,
no
wipes.
Yeah. Right, none whatsoever. You're basically just you're
I remember it being closed in on ours, and I remember not liking that. I remember thinking, well, that doesn't I don't want to be in here with somebody.
I've been to both kinds. I remember they had like a wall at Best Buy, and that was always weird because you always had there was a Best Buy guy there like hounding you.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
That's how they get you, man.
Yeah, they know what they're up to.
So as we're going through this movie, I just stopped and kind of like smiled at Sergio Rubini as Inspector Roverini. That guy was amazing. He was so freaking good, and he was so like he played the role so carefully and methodically. I was just like, is this becoming an Italian inspector movie? And it didn't. It kind of left him to dry. Really, he's almost a chick in the bucket. Like he goes upstairs to capture Ripley, and Ripley's not there, and then you're just like, all right, we're gone, we're leaving town altogether.
But he's the smartest one to deal with him, don't you feel like? So far, anyway, in the movie, everybody's so freaking stupid, but he's. Well, you kind of don't know.
That's the brilliance of Rubini's portrayal here is you don't know whether he's already caught on to everything and he's just trying to play Ripley, or he really is genuinely giving him the benefit of the doubt. I thought it was masterful.
Yeah, he was good. I think the forensics kind of suck in Italy, though.
In the 50s?
I mean,
I realize it's the 50s.
I don't know how soon they got being able to look at fingerprints and blood and testing and
or why is that boat got a body in it or whatever.
Who left the dock with with Dickie and came back alone? I don't know.
I just feel like there's more going on. I'm not looking for DNA or anything, but I just think there's a better path. Do they just have no crime there usually? That's the problem. I don't know.
Speaking of his Dickie, did we all get a glimpse of Jude Law as he got out of the bathtub?
I sure did.
Oh, just his butt. Did we see Ween too?
Yeah, there's cheeseburger. There's a quick flash.
Brief Ween. Okay. Very brief.
Brief Ween.
Yeah.
Brief Ween.
He's a very handsome man. It's hard for me to, be too worried about it. And he's
no Jack Davenport, but he's handsome.
Says in this trivia that Damon lost 25 pounds or something for the role. I don't know if he needed to do that. Just be.
It says 30, and I love the whole point of it was to have this scene building moment where Jude Law and Gwyneth Paltrow are getting some sun, and Matt Damon rolls up topless on the beach, and I felt such chemistry between Jude Law and Gwyneth Paltrow in that moment. I thought they were just like, man, they are really together on like this new guy, and he's
in his Mountain Dew colored Speedo.
Yeah.
The brightest fluorescent green.
It is funny to look at a movie like this and go, hey, there's the guy that's going to be in the Bourne movies, and he's going to be a huge action star. Watch his career go. It just didn't feel like this back then. He felt kind of slight, and the glasses probably helped make him seem like a turd, and he just looked like he was a nothing burger.
If only every character that meets Tom Ripley would go with their first instinct, everything would be fine. Like literally everything. Even Dickie's dad, his initial instinct is a little bit suspicious of this Ripley guy. And like it's especially true of when Freddy shows up. Freddy's just like, oh no, that's a bad guy. We shouldn't have anything to do with him.
Yeah, but Freddy's so damn cocky that he
I like that he's like street smart. So he like instantly he smells out Tom Ripley's bullshit. He's just like, oh no,
he figured it out quick.
Yeah, he did know pretty early. Felt like, and I'll watch Philip Seymour Hoffman do anything. I love him.
He
in
always
everything.
has he ever not played just the biggest asshole? I mean, I always love him when I see him, but
he's a nice guy in Twister.
Where I'm like, I really like him.
He was nice in Twister. It was like a friendly kind of.
But was he?
Goofball.
He was still annoying, but I liked him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He was lovable.
I liked him here too, just annoying.
You know what? This is a really good point. Let me think about this.
Yeah.
Has he ever played somebody where you're like, hero
just
of the
like
day?
Totally likable, relatable? It always seems like he's.
Yeah, I think you're right. He doesn't. That role doesn't exist. Yeah,
right.
Almost the same character. It's like Freddy left Scent of a Woman and went right into Italy.
I'll give you two that we've actually sacked.
Okay.
One is Almost Famous. He's just a DJ and reviewer of music, and he's fun. He's a
famous. Oh my God, it's a famous Rolling Stone dude. Shoot.
Oh, the reporter guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is likable in that. That's
in Almost Famous. He's post Rolling Stone, and he's just like. He's just got a lot of little philosophies about the death of rock and roll.
Right.
Yeah.
Lester Bangs.
Thank you. And then in the other one where I really like Philip Seymour Hoffman is Twister, because he is just having fun. He is there to rock on and chase storms, and like they all go to Aunt Peg or Aunt May's house or whatever her name is. Yeah. And Philip Seymour Hoffman is like the life of the party.
No, he's not. I'm like constantly going, I can stand. When you first see him, you're like, yeah, I can hang out with this guy for about 5 minutes. And I'm like, he's got to go. He's got to get him.
What about Big Lebowski, where he's the manservant to the other Lebowski?
Brand.
Brand can watch, but it's going to cost him $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always like him walking through because he's always entertaining to watch. But I'm like, I can't. 5 more minutes of this guy. And I'm going to murder.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you bring that up. This is what, a year, not even quite a full year after Lebowski,
right?
And he's so different in everything he plays. Like he's so good at just changing hats that you think they're more like a decade apart. These performances, crazy.
Magnolia, I love him. He's super likable.
Don't remember that him being in there.
He was the nurse for Jason Robards' character.
Oh, I was thinking Steel Magnolia is like an idiot. You're right. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah. And Tom Cruise is such a douche in that movie. Nobody else can possibly be a douche because Tom has usurped all the douchiness.
Yeah. He really did.
I love that film. I need to watch that one again.
That movie.
I also want to recommend Philip Seymour Hoffman in another Anthony Minghella movie, also starring Jude Law, which is Cold Mountain. Cold Mountain is not fun. I want to make that really, really clear. I mean, Talented Mr. Ripley isn't that fun, but it's beautiful, it's long, and it's very thoughtful. And Philip Seymour Hoffman does not play an always good guy, but he does play a priest who does have some good qualities.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I-
and not just reunited with Minghella, but also with Jude Law. Did you say Jude Law?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did
So
you say that? Now that I say that out loud, I think you said that.
yeah.
What movie am I thinking of, or what actor am I thinking of? Because I swear that Philip Seymour Hoffman was in Lake Placid. Am I wrong?
That's
I don't see it anywhere
it's been so
on
long.
his list of IMDb, but either I'm thinking of a different actor
Or a different movie
a
that's
different
similar
movie.
to Lake Placid. Yeah.
Right.
I've got no memory of Lake Placid.
me.
I don't remember that movie at all. I know I've seen it.
Maybe you're
Alligators, Betty White.
Yeah,
That's a great list so far. I like this
Yeah.
list. Keep it
And
going.
end of list.
End of list.
That's all I remember from Lake Placid. Those two things right there.
Could you be confusing him for Oliver Platt? I mean, at the time, they're not that
Oh,
different.
possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Could be.
A couple of
I
thick
think
boys.
You're probably right. I think it was probably Oliver Platt.
I like
For some
Oliver
reason,
Platt,
I just
too.
put him in there for some reason. I don't know why.
It's all right.
And
You and Platt,
yeah.
man. Just your thing with him.
Interesting.
Screw it up. No, I mean he's an all timer for a reason. Taken too soon, all those things are true. But you know what? He's kind of nice in Capote, the Truman thing.
Yeah,
I
Truman
think
Capote.
it's Capote. I think that's the thing. I think that since he's playing Capote, and Capote wasn't really like the life of the party. I think I really don't like him when he's playing the life of the party. Maybe that's the problem.
Do we have a favorite time he was like really villainous? Because for me, it's Mission Impossible 3. I think him as
Oh my God,
really good.
he's so
Oh.
good, so good. Freaking love him. Oh, he makes you angry. That's how good he is at that bad guy. I'm gonna make her bleed. I'm gonna make her hurt.
Yeah.
I can't think how he does that.
Oh, dude,
Something like
stop
that.
it.
Yeah, I know. That's really dark, man. I have some scrutiny about this trivia, though. Scrutiny. It says this is Matt Damon's favorite film that he has made. That's the way it's written.
Wow.
I'll bet he said that right after they were doing press for it, and that's like not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Before he made a lot of much better movies.
Yeah, like I feel like that's an early thing you'd say early on. Like, because I think he probably said it, I'll bet you money he said it about his own scripted, worked with his friends, movie. I can't think of the damn movie now. What's it called? What's the thing that made him famous? Well, Good Will Hunting. He probably said that about that. Because that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing he made at that point. And then what? Later on, like when he made The Martian, he probably liked that. I think this is like old trivia, and that therefore deserves scrutiny. F off trivia. Lame.
Yeah, you could imagine him saying that about Rounders, right?
Sure. I don't remember Rounders at all. Do we do Rounders? No.
Oh, I don't know if we did it, but man, I love that movie.
Remind me what it's about.
It's
We did second.
poker with Ed
Oh,
Norton.
right. Malkovich is in it. Give me
Yeah.
money.
The money.
Okay, we have
Give
seen
him
it.
the money.
We've 100% seen it.
It's kind of shocking how little we've seen Matt Damon on Film Sack. We've sacked Rounders and Ripley, and then 3 Bourne Identity movies, and that's it. Done.
We didn't do Mission
Those are the
Impossible
best.
3 here.
We did.
Not,
we did.
Not with Matt Damon.
Oh, yeah. Not
Oh,
with
was
that.
Matt Damon? I'm sorry. I thought, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Matt Damon's not in that.
I thought we were still, for whatever reason, talking about
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
We haven't done many Dustin Hoffman movies. I know that. We need more Hoffmans. Let's get more Hoffmans in
We
here.
need way more Hoffmans.
The person we've seen the most, by the way, is Philip Baker Hall.
Yeah.
Out of this
He
movie.
shows up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I will. I had read the cast list, or no. I had watched the 8 minutes of credits at the beginning of this movie. If seriously, if it takes you 8 minutes to list out your credits, there's something gone terribly wrong. And Philip Baker Hall's in there, and I just spent the whole movie waiting for Philip Baker Hall. Would you please?
Yeah. It was a long time. I don't think he was on screen enough. Put him in more.
It's really good that you're going to show up and you can immediately like bring that gravitas with you. So it's just you didn't need long to develop the character. We just like, oh shit,
Yeah.
oh, here comes the law. Here comes the law.
And he's just so good at that. Like that's his.
Yeah.
He does this and everything. I saw Fargo again. He kind of does that in Fargo. He's just that guy. You want to hire that guy?
He's
You
good.
better have somebody who's impatient.
Did we?
Wants to get shit done and have him walk into the room and just start talking. There's your guy.
I have never seen Ivano Marescati. Is that his name? Was he like the Italian inspector that comes in? And just, man, that guy, I don't know a word he's saying, but I was eating every bit of it up. It's like
Talking about the guy Randy was talking about earlier.
No.
Yeah,
This is the sidekick. Brian's talking about the sidekick.
Got it.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah, coming in and going, hey, you murdered him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was eating it up, man. I was like, give me more.
He looks like famous author. Help me, Brian Ibbett. Ivano Mariscotti looks like a very, very famous author.
Yeah, like I know what authors look like.
I'm looking at him. Let's think.
Salman Rushdie. He looks like Salman Rushdie.
Oh, a little
okay,
like old man
I can
Rushdie.
see
Yeah,
that.
like
I can see
Rushdie
that.
today. Sure, I can see that.
Huh.
Is he from? He looks like he's from a part of the world that. Oh, Italy. He's Italian.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe Middle East. He's got kind of.
He actually, in his IMDb photo, he looks like Sean Connery, which is kind of unnerving.
Yeah, he's nice. He can almost do a Ripley thing, right? He can be
In
anybody.
his IMDb photo, he kind of looks like an evil Muppet.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. You're not wrong. Did we see
like Waldorf or no Statler? I guess is the one that without the beard. The eyebrows are very Statler.
Am I remembering this? Maybe I am remembering this wrong, but wasn't this James Rebhorn guy? Wasn't he not in the game that we the
Abso-freaking-lutely,
Okay.
yes.
So that was right
Yes.
before this.
Yeah.
All right.
It's amazing his role in the game. Favorite James Rebhorn performance.
That's right. I couldn't remember where else we'd seen him here. I'm sure there's been other movies, but that's the one that stands out, I think.
You want to take any guesses?
Sensible Woman. We didn't see that here, but
No, we
he's the headmaster that. Again, speaking of your Philip Seymour Hoffman, but he's the headmaster that Pacino has to go up against.
Have we done? Oh, I gotta make a better
Rebhorn.
guess. Let's see. I can't think of anything else. I just see him in Seinfeld doing the judge job.
Right.
Yeah, so he was in Cat's Eye and Real Steel, but the one that I want to remember is Independence Day because guys,
Who'd he play?
yes,
What was his deal? Let's see.
it was just one of those one of those government guys.
Oh, okay. He does that really well.
Albert Zimnicki was the character he played. Albert Zimnicki. That's an interesting name. Man, you forget who was in that movie. Robert Loggia, freaking Mary McDonnell, Bill Pullman, Jeff Goldblum, Will Smith, of course, Judd Hirsch, Randy Quaid, James Rebhorn, Harvey Firestein, Adam Baldwin. Who else? Mae Whitman.
Tell us how you feel, Johnson.
It's actually a pretty packed cast.
Yeah,
Super.
You need to watch Independence Day about once every 6 or 7 years.
I like Independence.
10 years. Every 10 years.
Then I'm due. I'm well overdue.
Oh, I'm so overdue. I think.
I mean,
I
love watching.
I have poor
I
feelings.
love watching Data get puppeted. It's great.
Yeah. That's right. David Spiner got mushed up against the glass and had an alien up its butt or whatever he did. I don't remember how it went.
Alien talked through him.
We ought to do that sequel, just given how bad it was. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Get around.
got
to
it.
Yeah.
Speaking of film sack movies,
Yeah.
Because I loved the cinematography so much, I had to figure out if we'd seen this photographer before. And our main cinematographer is named John Seal, and yes, this is our 4th movie we've sacked by him, and I think it's by far the most beautiful. But I want to give you The Firm was in there, Dreamcatcher, and importantly, in my opinion, The Hitcher. And I think we talked about the cinematography in The Hitcher,
Right.
because it felt better than the movie.
Yeah. That's right. That held up. I remember that and just thinking, what? How does the picture look this good?
This is probably a much easier shoot, though, right? Because you get beautiful locations to film, beautiful.
But some of the shots, I'm like, are they is the camera on a separate boat? Like, there's some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's good.
okay. Sorry. I just learned something I didn't know. So, okay. There was some trivia that said somebody in here mentioned John. Oh, you were talking about Rounders. We were talking about John Malkovich. There's this trivia in there. John Malkovich said in an interview at the BBC that he came very close to directing this movie. Not being in it, but directing it, and that he was in negotiations to obtain the rights to direct a remake of the first Mr. Talented Ripley adaptation, Purple Noon, from 1960. Malkovich didn't get the rights, but he played Tom Ripley later in the movie Ripley's Game. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. There's 2 sequels of this,
and he's
right?
also in Ripley, the Netflix series.
Oh,
too.
no way.
So
he must have some hot. Yeah.
Deal,
As the investigator. Yeah.
He must be way into it or something.
I like Ripley.
It's probably it's not reviewed very well, so maybe we avoid it. But Ripley's Game, Don't remember
Ripley's
that.
Game. Yeah.
2002. And this is a dying family man in need of money is persuaded to assassinate a European crime boss. Is this part of the same world?
What? Really?
That's what it says. Maybe it's not connected to the story. It's just got the name Ripley in it.
It feels like now Ripley solves crimes for the for the FBI. Kind of thing.
Yeah, something's effed up. I don't think this is.
That does
Maybe it's just
not
a
feel like it's
coincidental
part of-
name thing or something. Here it is. Tom Ripley, cool, urbane, wealthy, and murderous. Lives in a villa in Viento with Louisa, his harpsichord playing girlfriend. A former business associate from Berlin's underworld pays a call to Ripley, asking his help in killing a rival. Ripley, ever a student of human nature, initiates a game to turn a mild and innocent local picture farmer into a hitman. It sounds like they did exactly what you're saying. They made a follow-on that was like, now he does work for the government. It's like,
Well, he's got all the adjectives. We saw the opening.
Sounds horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got all of them.
I don't think.
But
we
now
want-
he just has them on a business card for the FBI.
That's wild to me. All right. Also, it said
Ripley Underground. What's this?
Oh
Is
no!
that
What?
another-
Is there another
Yeah,
one?
Barry Pepper
The part
and
three.
Jacinda Barrett from Real World
Barry Pepper.
London.
Barry Pepper as Tom Ripley interests me. I kind of want to
Yeah.
see that.
We could see
Oh
that.
wow, Alan
bit.
Cumming, Tom Wilkinson, Willem Dafoe are all in this.
It sounds like the movie we just watched, only with a alternate cast.
Right.
Like all of the. Every
Is it
person
is like
you
the
just
plot
named.
feels like a
I mean, the
oh, yeah.
names.
After his friend, a hot young artist is killed. I love that. Hot young artist. A resourceful American man living in London covers up the crime and tries to keep the friend's name alive in order to exploit his legacy and reap millions in the process.
I don't want to
So,
see any of these. They all sound like the same movie.
They do.
I love Barry Pepper though. He's underused in
Yeah.
Hollywood. He's got the
For
weirdest.
sure.
He's got the weirdest face. They need to use that guy more.
Love
You're
it.
wasting your time
Yeah.
not using him.
Trust me. Go watch Ripley. Even while this movie's fresh in your mind, you might even appreciate Ripley more, the Netflix series. That'll officially be the last time I bring up Ripley, the Netflix series, but it is one of my favorite things that I watched last year.
It's highly regarded, and you raved, and everyone else I talked to raved.
It's
Am I going to get in there again though and go, you all suck? I
No,
hate all of you.
because Dakota Fanning is so likable and smart, and you root for her so much in Ripley.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give it a shot.
She seems like she's onto him like from the get-go.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Right. I
Yeah.
need somebody chasing him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, you need some stakes,
Yeah.
right?
I need
Right,
somebody to pull
exactly.
for other than the only person I'm allowed to hang out with the whole movie.
Who's this douchebag who you can't freaking stand and wish would die?
Right.
Ah,
Right.
Right.
hate him.
He's
And
overstayed his
Andrew
welcome.
Scott is so damn good. Okay. All right.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. I thank you very much. I want to put an end on talking about the cinematography of this movie by asking you guys, the blue light scene, did it affect you at all? Because
I was
it
trying to
really
figure out what
blew
you
my
meant by
mind.
that, because you were saying the blue light in the car. Is it when they're driving around during the day? There's a
No.
bright blue light
No.
shining.
When he's hiding
after-
in the basement.
After everything falls apart,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
the police are coming to pick him up,
Yeah.
and he realizes it, and so he goes down to the basement, exchanges out his luggage,
Yeah.
and he realizes he's about to get caught because they can like they're right outside the basement, and and you see him looking at them and them not looking at him, and he's flooded in blue light. It's like it's this
Yeah.
shocking look at Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah,
it-
and there's a point where he grimaces, and it's like the flash of the strobe
Right.
picks up that face, and it's like, oh my god, he looks like he could be a murderer right there in that.
Right.
that
It's
brief
supposed
second.
to be the literal representation of what he was describing to other people. It was supposed to be that, right? So yeah, he's in the basement, literally. He's hiding, literally, in the blue lights, showing his face. And oh my god, what's going on with that guy?
Yeah.
I was really impressed with Anthony Minghella in that moment, and there were other moments like that
Yeah.
where like they capture Jude Law and Matt Damon in a little boat together, and they're just acting. It's like straight up acting, and like the photography of it was just amazing.
The director died way too soon. He was only 54. He had some kind of thyroid thing going on in his throat, and they did an operation. We looked all successful, and then ended up with a aneurysm from a clot that formed from the surgery. So it was complications from the surgery. It's really sad. I feel like that was one of those directors that was going to just keep going into his, his late years and keep making stuff. Yeah, he was a prestige director. Yep. Real bummer. 54 is too young.
Yeah, because we had just seen The English Patient a few years prior to this, right? So
yeah, it would have been 95, 96, something like that. Yeah, An English Patient was a big deal. Brings us back to Seinfeld where they made fun of it.
I've never seen it. It's one of like those big Oscar films that one of the most recent big Oscar films that I've never seen.
It's also a slog, but enjoy.
That's what I hear. Yeah, that it's kind of, a lot of people say it's overrated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Seinfeld episodes where they just rip on it.
Right. I'd much rather go see In the Bag or whatever it is. Look, the family is all in the bag. Or Sack Lunch. Is that what it's called?
Sack Lunch. That was it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see Sack Lunch, I'll be honest.
It's showing with Rochelle, a young woman's erotic journey from Milan to Minsk.
That's right. I love those two running gags. They're so good. This film is full of Oscar winners. Let's just point a couple out. Matt Damon, of course, Cate Blanchett, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Jude Law, who has had a nomination but never a win.
Nominated twice for this one and Cold Mountain, which I mentioned.
Has he?
Apparently, this was the only director or filmmaker that could get Jude Law nominated.
I thought Jude Law had something more recent that happened, but maybe I'm thinking of something this year that might happen. Was it? And it didn't. It got snubbed. It was that. Or The Order? Is that what it's called? Let's see.
So The Order, yes. He did get. Was he nominated for a Golden Globe for The Order?
Might have been a Globe. Yeah. I'm so ready to see this. The minute it comes available, I'm watching this. I can't wait. I love stuff like this.
I don't recognize that at all.
A lot of people were like, this movie got snubbed and shouldn't have. But Nicholas Hoult, Jude Law, Ty Sheridan.
Oh wow.
I think Sheridan may have produced it again. This is kind of his Hell or High Water kind of vibes. Let's see. I'm trying to find it here. Mark Maron has
Yeah, you have Brian. He's got Jude Law is an FBI guy with a ridiculous mustache.
Ty Sheridan, not Tyler Sheridan. Sorry, or not Taylor Sheridan. Ty Sheridan.
No, it's not. I'm looking at the description right now, and it's like, why don't I know this?
It's 1970s killer mystery thriller deal.
Early 80s.
It looks
early
80s. Great. Yeah,
it looks awesome. I'm totally into it. Apparently, real brutal too, which is great because I love that he was making this and the Star Wars kids movie, the Skeleton Crew.
The Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, those things happening at the same time is always funny to me when that happens. It's like,
it was good too, by the way. Skeleton Crew.
I need to watch
it. Better than the last couple Star Wars spin-off shows.
I think he's still got an Oscar in him. Is my point, though. Just give it some time.
Jude Law for sure. Yeah, it's going to take a little time.
He's a great actor.
The right thing.
Yeah, just love him. I can't think of anything I didn't like him in. Maybe like this, but it's not his fault.
Right, you didn't like his character, but you liked him.
Yeah, and in fact, at the end of the movie, he kind of was my favorite character at the end because he died halfway through, which maybe helped. I didn't have to see more of his bad behavior, but in the end, he was like almost the least bad of everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like he's kind of an ass, and he was a little lost.
He's just selfish and sexually driven.
Yeah.
So we didn't see his badness portrayed. We were only informed about it at the very end.
Yeah, like some of his failings as a moral human were not. Yeah, they weren't on film.
He'd beat people up. He was a bad guy. We just hadn't seen it.
Yeah. But then,
he was no Gigolo Joe, but
But who is?
Gigolo Joe.
Another movie that's a slog, and you probably come away hating everybody, is The Aviator by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah. God, I haven't seen that movie.
And Jude Law plays Errol Flynn in that movie, and it's not a big role. But Howard Hughes, is interacting with every famous person of the day, and Errol Flynn by Jude Law is really good. It's a really solid performance.
I don't even remember him doing that. That's perfect for him, though. I could see him playing that role.
I can't wait for us to watch that 3-hour epic.
Probably not.
You know what, though? It's a great example of a movie that could be edited down to like 205, and I really believe that you could do that, and it would be just fine.
Yeah, I think that there's two things can be true. This could be shorter, but also it's good that the series expands on it. It's like there's two different things going on that could have worked better for this movie, and that is shorter and less. Oh, the other thing I didn't like about it is I forgot to mention this. I didn't like how the music was making me want to think like it was capery. You know,
Okay.
I can't explain it. It's kind of heisty, capery music. That was the decision to use here, and it didn't ever make it. To me, it clashed with the vibe of the movie, which is this guy's a freaking psychopath.
I love the inline music, the jazz stuff. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, that stuff's great. Nothing wrong with that. Unless you mean Glenn Miller, and according to Dickie, you shouldn't like Glenn Miller. He said,
I like Glenn Miller because he went to school here in Boulder, and there's a ballroom where we play trivia that is named after him. So
"Oh, no way!
I like Glenn Miller.
I like him too. I like him regardless."
Good for you.
That's his big
Anyone else,
overplayed song, isn't it? It's the one that everybody knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the mood. Yeah.
Anyone else get tired of hearing the name Dickie? Like for me, it was like hearing the name Murph when you watch Interstellar. I was just like, shut up, stop saying it.
Dickie.
Trying to think.
Dickie.
It did happen. Yeah, there was a lot of Dickie talk. You're
I
right.
wouldn't have done that damn song if I was sick of hearing that name.
Oh, good point. I'm kind of glad he had it now because you did get to do that. It's funny.
Hey, here's my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that at the end of the day, I looked at the plot kind of from a camera's view or like a top view down and went, all right, who was really at fault in all this? I think the whole thing's the dad's fault. Like the whole mess.
For sending him in the first place.
Yeah, well, there's that.
I mean,
and also prior
Tom
to
didn't
that,
have to accept.
could have been a better
At least
dad
all
in
the-
general. He could have been less spoily with his kids. Like it kind of goes way back.
Also, Italy is at fault. The entire country is catering to the whims of spoiled rich Americans.
Yeah,
That's
And
true.
and all these kids were rebelling against their money and their parents specifically. So yeah,
Is that a
it's very
thing?
Easy to blame the parents.
If I could time travel back to Italy in the 50s, and were they known for coddling rich pompous Americans?
kids
Catering to the.
I don't think they'd have a choice, right?
They were children.
I mean,
Yeah.
if those rich kids show up, I mean, what do? They start throwing money around. Money is power. Or do you just have to, to bend to it?
I guess so. I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about the era, but I didn't know this was an era piece. I had no idea. I always thought back in the day when I'd see trailers and posters and stuff, I'm like, oh, it's just modern
Yeah, the poster
people.
doesn't give any clue that it is set.
Yeah, even at the beginning, when they're doing the concert out in front or the wedding out in front or where the hell that was out in front of the Madison Square, or not Madison Square
Roof
Garden.
party, garden
I
party.
couldn't.
Yeah.
I totally couldn't relate to anything there. When the opening, I was like, "What the hell is going on? Why are we having some kind of garden singing party? What is?"
Yeah.
It was very weird. I like the color. I like the color
thing?
blocking
What
they
is-
did for the opening credits. So I thought that was cool. The big blue
Yeah, but
stripes
boy,
and
those
stuff.
credits seem to go on for a long time.
Like Randy said,
you're
yeah,
halfway. Yeah. Oh, did he?
And we mentioned
funny.
the colors too. Yeah, but they went on forever.
Yeah,
They did.
Good,
Yeah.
though.
8 minutes.
Like we were.
I timed it.
You did. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
You did say that.
It was a fun look, though. I like that.
Yeah.
Like it could
At
have.
first, I thought it was. At first, when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, so they're it's kind of coming in, kind of like almost like an alien kind of thing." But it looks like glass shattered or something. But then I started getting more vibes that they were doing some.
Oh, when
themes
they were
with the
doing like
album
pulling down the
covers.
letter strips and stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. At first, I thought it was
yeah.
a ransom letter. I was like, "Is he doing a ransom letter? What's he doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the movie wanted to have at least the smell or the aura of like a 7 or something.
Right.
But it's
Right.
never.
Well, and all those different strips of his name were like to talk about the different facets that he portrays.
Oh yeah, and like it was like flicking around before it became talented. It was like the nervous, the
Right.
angry, the anxious, the whatever, and it was like, am I supposed to know? Like I almost paused and like frame.
Is this going to be in the test?
Yeah, am I going to have to know this tomorrow? Because I wasn't sure what I was getting into that early, but yeah. At the end of it all, you know what? This is the kind of movie where I'd say, hey, do you like, this kind of thing? Like kind of terrible people treating everybody like shit, climbing ladders they don't have any right to climb, this sort of thing.
Did you like Wolf of Wall Street? Come on. Do I have the movie for you?
You know what? I
You
feel
like watching The Real Housewives of Orange County?
that's another one, and I love Scorsese to death, but I can't watch that movie again. I'm done with Wolf of Wall Street for the same reasons. These people are terrible. I can't root for anybody. You got to at least give me somebody somewhere with some redeeming value, or even if you do, then now I'm worried about that person. Like the gay boyfriend at the end, flaws and all, is probably the nicest guy in the movie.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I just all the time I'm going, you're going to die. This is bad. I just know it is because you've bought into the lie. You're in there enjoying the lie with everybody else, and it's all going to come to roost because it does, and then you're out of here. I hate that feeling.
This movie murdered the smallest bit of bright light, which was kind of probably intentional, right?
I think that's the whole idea. Yeah, I think that's the point.
But I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I've never respected anything more and hated it as much as I do in movies.
Yeah,
I think honestly, and I may be might be all movies, not just Film Sack movies. Like this might be one of those movies that maybe top 3 or something where I would say, man, I respect the craftsmanship, the acting, the job being done here is top freaking notch, and you got all the right people to do it, and I hate it.
I hate it.
Thanks. You know? It's really weird, but yeah, I'm gonna just blame the dad for everything, and that makes things easier for me.
I did like the Kate Blanchett character, Meredith Loge.
She's not in the book, I think, right? She's
added. She and Peter were added. His role increased for the movie, and her role was pretty much added for the movie.
Yeah.
Our 2 favorite parts of the parts that were
added just for the movie. Exactly.
To hold the structure of the movie. Yeah.
Do you think that's?
Then somebody realized we have nobody likable in this thing. Can we come up with 2 more characters that we can?
Something.
That's probably it. They're probably like, this story's just got no one good, so let's build a couple, or build one out and invent another one. She's so great though. I mean, I don't care what she does. I freaking love her. But this movie, I don't know, man. It's fun. This is pre Game of Thrones, sorry, Game of Thrones. Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah, it's like 2 years later.
Yeah.
Weird. I think of her as like Queen Elizabeth with all the white makeup, and then the Elf Queen. There's like, I don't think of the rest of her career, which I'm sure was bright and shiny between those 2 points.
So
I just don't.
Lilith? All right.
No, I don't think of anything else between those 2 things. Lilith from what? From what?
From Borderlands.
Oh, that's now. I'm talking about. I'm saying like between her Queen Elizabeth role and this,
and that can be skipped, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see
until we watch it here for Film Sack.
Yeah, we save the bad for here, and that's how we do it. Sorry, one of you was saying something, and I cut you off. Who was it? Randy, you were saying something.
I just wanted to get to a final trope before we go to clips.
Please do. I'm going to play your trope clip here.
This movie has a Bolivian army ending. And I just wanted to make sure that you knew about that trope.
I don't know what that means.
The Bolivian army ending refers to the end of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, where you spent the whole movie learning that these guys are really good at fighting, and they're completely surrounded by a Bolivian army. And instead of leaving you on a cliffhanger, it leaves you with them coming out guns blazing, and you're left to conclude that they defeated the entire Bolivian army after the credits rolled. And this movie has the very, very good example of this, where Tom Ripley, he just killed a man, and you're just like,
good. Yeah.
You're like, I guess he got away with it.
Yeah.
That's all you can conclude.
Yeah.
If he had a choice there, right? He could have killed Meredith, but she was traveling with friends, and that would have been the riskier thing to do.
Is it not that? What's the difference between this and the spinning top and Inception? Because to me, it seems like the same thing. It's like, well, did it stop?
That's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, but
that's a cliffhanger. You have no idea whether the top falls or not.
But don't cliffhangers get resolution, right? Isn't that their definition of a cliffhanger? You have a thing, they cliffhang you, and then they bring you back.
No, cliffhanger is no resolution.
Have intention,
because the cliffhanger is based on the serials that you would go back and watch the next week because you don't know the answer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no Inception 2, is my point.
You know the answer here, though. You know that he got away with it.
Yeah, but in Inception, there's no Inception 2. So what is that? That's a cliffhanger. Where's your next week? Find out what happens. You see what I'm saying?
There is no next week.
Okay, so it's a cliff. So that can be a cliffhanger. You're saying though?
Yeah. Unresolved can still be a cliffhanger.
Okay, all right. So unresolved, that top maybe twitched a little. Oh my gosh, we'll never know for sure. I guess we get to go have fun talking about it.
He's hanging from a cliff, and tune in next week when we find out if. But you're not going to tune in next week.
Yeah. There is no next week
because there's no next week.
Inception 2, deeper we go into the Inception.
The Cosby Kids made fun of that trope every episode.
They did.
They did. I don't remember that.
Yeah, every episode, the Cosby Kids would gather around and watch a TV show, a show within a show, where there was a cliffhanger last week that didn't get resolved, and then the current episode they're watching would end in a cliffhanger that would not get resolved.
Because his dad's name is Cliff.
Right.
Yeah.
So true.
But that you're talking about like the straight Cosby Show in the 80s, that one, right? Must see TV Thursday nights.
No, the Cosby
you're talking
Kids.
the animated show.
Yes, the animated.
Fat Albert, that thing.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes.
It's like Cosby Kids. What the hell are we talking about?
Let me give you another example of Bolivian army endings, just so you got it.
Okay.
The World According to Garp. It ends with Garp having been shot, and he's being carried away in a helicopter. And your only conclusion is that he's going to a hospital and he's going to make it. Like, that's the only conclusion you can make. Because like in this movie, your only conclusion is that Ripley somehow gets off this boat before people find out that Peter's dead.
Right.
That's
As far as right. And as far as she doesn't, well, she did see Peter. I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, the story continues. Right. That's the point. He got away. He eliminated the problem.
Well, based on these other movies I'd never heard of afterwards, apparently he did. We got sequels to this shit where he just keeps going. It's a little like Hannibal. Remember Hannibal was like.
Remember Hannibal?
I mean, the movie Hannibal, because the movie Hannibal is weird. It's like he's kind of working for the FBI as Hannibal, and then he bails at the last second, cooks Leota's brain, and then leaves. I can't remember what the deal was, but when you try to make your most like loathsome, when you make your most loathsome person, he cooked it. No. What are you thinking of? Chilled brain? You're thinking of chilled monkey brains from
Chilled monkey brains.
Windy. Wrong guy. But anyway, the when he's in that movie, he's, if I remember this right, he's kind of working with Clarice, and he's sort of, they're going after some other killer, which is often the backdrop of those movies. Of Silence of the Lamb and everything was, Buffalo Bill and everything. Right. But it just seemed like they roped him into some kind of deal where, all right, he's going to help us get this. This is what these sequels must be like, where it's like Ripley is a terrible man, but we sure could use him right now. I don't want that.
So he gets that's a good point. So like I'm assuming that the books go in that path, right? He does have a talent, and eventually, right now he is in the origin, he's exploiting others, but in the end, he's probably going to be exploited, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
I find that an interesting character arc or story.
Yeah.
So I think that I want to read the books. I think the books just sound like a really good mix of storytelling that would be good to the point that I could go, if I get tired of the characters, I can just close the book and I can wait a
walk
week
away.
And come back.
Can you know what? You do that, and then you tell me if I need, because I wouldn't mind if it's good. I just this sort of arc I just don't like. But then what Ibbott says about the TV series sounds like there's so much more here. So I don't know, man. Yeah. I'm trying not to be a poo on it.
I think you would love it. And this one is one, it's like, I want you to trust me on it, on how much you'd love it.
Me.
I believe you. That's why it's so discordant for me, because this movie was like just so off-putting.
And you could just watch the first episode and see if it hooks you. I almost guarantee it will, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. You move on. And
what do you think it is though that I love? I'm sure there's people out there listening who are just in the same boat, but I love Breaking Bad. Nobody in Breaking Bad is a hero, but it works. Somehow it works for me, and I don't know what the difference is.
Well, I mean,
they're all bad people, all doing terrible things. Now you have little things of like
becomes bad, but at the beginning she's likable and you kind of feel for her, but she does become just as corrupt as everybody else.
Yeah, everybody kind of breaks bad with the, like even somebody like Mike Ehrmantraut, who's really close to his granddaughter. They create a situation where you have some empathy for him and his situation and all that, but he's also doing just real bad shit for a living, and maybe doesn't need to. You know what I mean? And
I think because you see Walter kind of go into things for the right reasons, but doing it the wrong way, as opposed to being morally corrupt at the beginning and then just making bad decisions for the sake of making bad decisions.
Yeah.
You almost say to yourself, I would do that. I think I might do that for my family as well.
Yeah, you're right. I think all of those factors make a difference, and part of this is it's out of time. It's like in the 50s, and it's in Italy, and it's all in places with a bunch of rich hoity-toity that none of this is relatable to me. So trying to feel for any of these people is going to be a harder call than it is for me some regular family in New Mexico who get dragged into this mess because of a bunch of bad decisions from Walter White. I mean, maybe that's it, and then how you explore those relationships is what makes it work, but it's a weird thing. It's a weird disconnect.
I never felt trapped with him, right? I never felt like I was trapped. I definitely felt like I was trapped here.
Yeah, like you were trapped with the character. That's a good way of putting it. And you can't get away from them. But even things, there were things about Walter I was rooting for, and there are things about Gus Fring that I rooted for. Like they created moments of empathy for these characters. Walter's cancer, the Gus Fring's brother, and the whole thing at the pool, and all that terribleness, and all this other stuff. Like there's all these like complicated reasons why you could see why these people are motivated to do what they're going to do. With
complicated reasons is probably that's the thing that allows you to think about stuff. Whereas I can quickly go, nope, wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. It's really kind of a weird, I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to discover why I felt so put off by everybody in this thing.
Nope. Wouldn't beat a guy in the head with a paddle. Nope.
No. Oh man, that looked bad.
It's weird how the Dukes of Hazzard are criminals. they are criminals, but you're rooting for them because they get into scrapes and you want to know how they get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the whole deal. There's nothing more to it. But Tom Ripley is also a criminal and he's getting into scrapes. And you're just like, I just kind of want to see someone squish him. I'm not really rooting for this guy.
Yeah. Can he just die? That'd be cool.
Right.
That's kind of what I was hoping for by the end. But and then I thought, well, wait a minute. There's these other stories. And Brian says there's a whole series. And it just seems like, I think this guy gets away with all this shit. And it made me mad. And I like Matt Damon, but I had a hard time looking at him for a while. You know?
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's to his credit. He's really good in this. He freaking killed it. Yeah. But gosh dang it, dude. Freaking weirdo, get in the tub with him.
He does smile with a lot of teeth.
He does.
It's kind of amazing.
And he smiles upside down. Like the lower part of his mouth kind of stays flat and his upper mouth curves upside down to do his smile. It's weird.
Yeah. It is weird, but
I
can see why Jimmy Kimmel hates him so much.
Yeah, hilarious.
One of my favorite long-running gags of all time. So good.
I will say this though. I was a little. I could not stand the inconsistency with the glasses though, because sometimes they were lensless. Sometimes they had lenses in them.
I noticed that too. It's like you just want to avoid the glare. I totally get it, but they do these close-ups, and it's like there is nothing in those frames, and it's very obvious.
No glasses have ever been that clean. No way.
Right.
There's no lenses there.
Does it make you want to just poke your finger in there and like catch him in a lie? It's like, you're not wearing it.
These glasses are a lie.
We had a kid in high school that did this. He wore lensless glasses but pretended they weren't and would lie to everybody that they weren't, and then we would run up and like poke him in the eye and go, "Don't do that." I'm like, "There's no glass in these. This is stupid.
I need them."
Who are you trying to fool? He just thought it looked cool, which in the 80s, who thought that? Nobody. We were four eyes with our glasses. That's what they called us. We're still licking those wounds. We got whole generations of people who've come up since who glasses are cool. You look great. You go to a concert in your glasses, you don't care. But in the 80s, dude, we were vilified for our glasses.
That is like the dumbest insult too. Four eyes. Okay.
That's so dumb. Yeah. It's so dumb. Eyes? It's like, I have a thing that I can get relatively easy to help me improve my vision of the world. Four eyes. Shut up, Dick. I got some unresolved bully stuff in my childhood.
Shut up, Dickie.
Shut up, Dickie. All right, let's do some clips. I got some here, and they all are here. So let's do them. I thought she said pervert. She didn't, but here it is.
Herbert.
She said Herbert, but I thought she said pervert.
I could have swore she said pervert too.
Herbert?
Wow, that's interesting.
It's a question like pervert.
Herbert.
Herbert.
Now it's all you'll hear when you see it again. Seinfeld Judge Rebhorn.
Of course, Dickie's idea of music is jazz.
Jazz.
Yeah. All right, $1,000. How much you want?
$1,000.
That's a lot of money back in the
day. Basically, everything happens in this movie because of that $1,000.
Yep.
It would have been really fun if Matt Damon had looked him in the eyes when he said that and just gone, "I need 1,100."
Yeah.
That's just not,
It sure doesn't seem like nearly enough these days. Like, no, I'm totally not gonna do this for $1,000.
Here's an inflation. Oh, go ahead.
I couldn't quite understand either because they kind of implied that he was also getting funded beyond $1,000. Like, was he getting like a weekly as well, or I didn't know.
I couldn't tell either. One time, Dickie brought it
Travel,
up.
I'm sure, was paid for, and
what do you call it? His expense account
expenses,
at one point.
probably. Yeah,
right.
It's like a.
By the way, I did the inflation calculator, and $1,000 in 1957 would be worth about $11,200 today.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty big jump. That's basically 10 times more. Is what that is.
Maybe I'd do it for that much. Yeah.
I'd need $25K. I'd do that, but I wouldn't kill anybody. I just ask his son to come home.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't start that way. Slippery slope.
I don't know. It doesn't feel that slippery to me. Like, okay, so the not knowing who I really am thing, it's all a big lie and everything. The whole thing's based on a lie. But if that's all there is, you go to Italy, you do what he said. You don't make up the school thing. You just say, my dad sent me here. He really wants me to get you home. What can we do to make that happen? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, it does. Either way, he was going to pay you to go. So you're good.
What if you fall in love with the Mark? What if you fall in love with?
I don't know. What if you kill Philip Seymour Hoffman with a heavy freaking stone head?
Beethoven bust or whoever it was, Greek bust,
whatever that was. That thing looked gnarly because it had all the curls in the hair, like really bumpy. Oh man.
Yeah, you're gonna have to toothbrush all the blood out of that.
Nasty.
Or soak it. You got to soak it in the sink for a little bit.
And he just got it. He just barely opened that box.
Hey, this guy is a gift. Who gave him that gift? I was confused.
That's another good question. Who gave him the big marble head? I don't know.
Yeah.
I hated this, I wrote, but I don't remember what it was. So let's see if I really hated it.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I did hate that exchange. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Logue.
I'm Logue.
Logue.
I travel under R.
Some Italian speaking.
Questo è la mia faccia.
See, do you hear that? Do you hear that jaunty freaking music in the background? Listen again.
Questo è la mia faccia.
Like I just didn't fit.
Yeah, it's the melodic, or what is that? Mellow. So it's a setting on the synthesizer.
Oh, yeah.
Not melodica, but a mellotron.
Mellotron? Oh yeah.
Mellotron.
Oh my gosh.
How dare you?
That's a hard one to pull out. I would never remember that name, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
That little goofy keyboard.
Yep. My grandma had a combo like organ. I don't know what that thing was, but it had something like that as well. And we would turn it on and she'd get all pissed. Turn that off.
That's not for the kids to play with.
If you want hard candy, you'll turn it off now. All right, here's Bird. Yeah.
I named the boat Bird. It's a jazz reference. Cool.
Like Charlie Parker.
This is what my wife says when I come out of the shower.
You're so white.
Yeah, that's true. It's true, man. She's done it before. She'll do it again. Here's a nosebleed moment.
Made me laugh so hard I almost got a nosebleed.
Oh, tish tosh. It's just this lifestyle. You know what? The more I hear these clips, that's what I hate. I hate the lifestyle. Yeah. Just the whole air. I nearly broke a nail. It's like, shut up.
Couldn't you just die?
Yes, that. So it's just, I can't be in the room with people like that. Thankfully, there aren't that many in my life, but when they are.
Yeah.
All right. Here's him doing the voice.
Oh, yes, jazz.
You don't really sound like Reb Horn.
That was his impression.
Here he is doing a girl voice, though.
Oh, I like him.
I like him. Here he is singing. I guess he can sing. So here he is doing it.
Not if you care for me.
I mean, you know.
It's a little flat.
Yeah. There went a lot of.
But you know, he can hold a tone better than I can, probably. So
yeah, but
who might have bitch?
Yeah, but has he done upwards to 50 intros to Film Sack? I think not.
Probably not. No.
Hoffman. What? Here's Hoffman.
If you get bored, you let me know, because I'll do it. I'll do it.
I couldn't stand being around these people.
This is so horrible.
I think this is it. This isn't the Breaking Bad of everything. It's the people and their portrayals. And again, not the actors. I like all these actors, but So I think I figured it out. The conundrum's over. All right. Here's a fun yell.
You don't have to clean up!
You can almost hear his accent there.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to clean up. Also a great scare me scream. Yeah.
That was Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yep.
Yeah.
Getting a little freaked out by sneaking up Tom Ridley. Everybody knows about Freddie Mars.
Everybody knows Freddie Miles.
He likes to F everybody he sees.
Or at least he wishes he could.
Wishes he could, yeah.
It's like, shut up. I hate it so much. And this coming out of the mouths of people I love, right?
Right.
Kate Blanchett. I can't talk shit about her, but as a character sure can. All right. Great line I wrote. I hope I'm right. I don't know if it was.
You know, people always say that you can't choose your parents, but you can't choose your children.
That's a great point. Right? You can't choose your parents.
Sure, you can. You can go, no kids.
I can't tell. Was that
Reb Horn?
Reb Horn, or was that Damon impersonating Reb Horn?
It's so close. How will we ever know? Wet Marge.
I'm wet, Marge.
Oh, I'm Wet Marge.
I'm wet, Marge.
I need another 3-4 minutes to come up with my answer. So let me drop my towel.
Yeah, dropped all that on purpose, showed her the Martian, and then went and took care of business.
Right.
Showed her the Martian.
Here's no BS.
I don't care for BS. I don't care to hear it. I don't care to speak it.
Yeah, that's there. Yeah, that guy.
I don't care to smell it. I don't care to eat it. I don't care to rub my face in it. I don't care.
What were we talking about again?
I don't care to put it in my pockets. I don't care to
I love him.
Decorate a tree with it.
He's so great.
It was a great way to stop Tom Ripley. Like, Tom Ripley was trying to gain control of the situation by talking about whatever he was seeing and thinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like an awesome punctuation on that. Like,
It was like, no, quit farting around.
Yep.
yeah.
I want to see. So I've never seen the movie Hard 8. Apparently, that is like the Philip Baker Hall movie to see. Like, that guy is amazing in that. And I think that's him. That's Paul Thomas Anderson, right? I think so. Making that. Yeah.
It is. It's PTA.
Oh, another
yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow deal. I didn't know she was in that.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Bax, John C. Reilly. I should see this. I've never seen this. I haven't seen the older Paul Thomas Anderson stuff. But he was in a lot of his movies, right? Boogie Nights and Magnolia.
Magnolia, all that stuff. God, Magnolia. I really do. It really does make me want to watch Magnolia again.
Such a great movie. So good. He was in Rush Hour, and we've seen that, I think. Did we see Rush Hour 1? I think we did.
I don't know.
We probably all have
we
seen
did.
it, but I don't think we watched it here.
I've seen it, but I don't think for this.
I feel like we did one. Maybe not.
Can you see the movies coming out of our list?
He just died a couple years ago, 90 years old. Did a real good run. Good job.
Well,
Philip Baker Hall, not to be confused with the other guy with 3 names in your movie, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Right?
Right.
All right, that is it for your clips. Now we do your checklist. It's the Film Sack checklist. No one is likable in this. Check. The only good Ripley is Ellen Ripley. Check. And finally, I think this is my kryptonite genre. Check. If it even is a genre, I don't know what you even call it. Is it a genre? Is it part of something? Do we call this a mystery thriller? What do we call this?
They call it a psychological thriller, but I would call it a uncomfortable thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the rich people aspect. Like, you do this with not the social elites, and I think you like it a lot more.
Yeah,
you know?
I think so. I was actually trying to think of that last night, like a similar film. It was actually kind of hard to come up with one. And Saltburn is exactly like this. But Saltburn is also about a bunch of uppity rich people who are completely out of connection with the rest of the world. So it's the same problem. I really dislike Saltburn.
And Saltburn has just more disgusting aspects than just whacking a guy with an oar. From what I hear.
Yeah, you think that in this one, Tom Ripley's suggesting he might get in your bath. Things go way worse with the bath.
Jeez. What's
it talking about?
I know, and I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't even seen it? Oh, man.
No, but I know enough about it to know exactly.
I have regrets about. I kind of hate that movie. And again, it's full of amazing actors.
Never seeing it, maybe.
Great actors. Just awful. What else? Where was I? That's it on that. Let's do the Star Trek connections. I'm sure we got some kind of somebody's. Philip Baker Hall, maybe, or who we got in there?
Oh, no one was ever in a Star Trek thing, so I had to do another two-stepper. And this time, my two-step connections are all starting with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh.
So Philip Seymour Hoffman was in Synecdoche, New York, with Joe Lisi, who was in Come See the Paradise with Calm Meanie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And then Philip Seymour Hoffman was in Magnolia with Cleo King, who was in Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror with Anson Mount.
Damn, son.
Oh.
Pretty good.
And then Philip Seymour Hoffman was in Culture with Basil Hoffman, who was in Jennifer, a Woman's Story with Kate Mulgrew. How you like that?
Jeez.
I like that.
That's impressive. I forgot. Sorry, I'm down this Philip Baker Hall hole. He's an Enemy of the State. We saw that. He's fantastic in that. He's great in The Truman Show. Dude, this guy's got a career. Oh, we talked about Millennium last week and whether we should rewatch that. He was somebody called the Group Elder.
Does anybody want to share on that? I've got that.
I do want to share on that.
Season 1.
Philip Baker Hall makes a specific kind of film sack movie. We sacked him in Air Force One, Enemy of the State, The Rock, The Sum of All Fears, The Talented Mr. Ripley. It's like there's a thing happening there.
He's got to be like a cop or a detective or something in all those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's on a Cheers episode as City Councilman Kevin Fogarty. That's cool. Well, anyway, rest in peace, Philip Baker Hall. All right. Let's get to the where were we here? Oh, we just did all that. Let's get to the social media post. 280 characters. That's all you get, but you can fill it out and put in there your thoughts about this movie in one big shot. Let's start with Randy.
The Talented Mr. Ripley. He wears some real tight pants, and sometimes he wears a robe while slicing up his hand. He is a stone cold killer. That fact you ought to know. There's also a little rumor that he's bisexual. We cannot prove that last one because he won't admit to anything. His entire life is crazy counterfeit.
That's amazing.
Bisexual.
Yeah, I made that rhyme. It's real good. You're the Kendrick Lamar of Film Sack. Nice job.
Yeah.
Brian Dunaway, take it away, weirdo.
The Talented Mr. Ripley, more like the hairless Mr. Nippley. Hashtag Speedo a no-no.
That thing, I had to turn down the brightness on my TV with that neon green suit he was wearing.
That was something. Finally, we have Brian Ibbett.
The wickedly talented Mr. Ripley. Tom is talented. Tom is tender. Tom is beautiful. Tom is a mystery. Tom is irritating. Tom needs a little more editing. Tom is kind of unlikable. Tom is crushing me. Tom is crushing me.
Tom, you're crushing me. You're crushing me, Tom.
Put down the paddle, Tom. Nicely done. Let's move now to the alternate titles just handed to me. This was almost called What's in the Boat?
No. What's in the boat?
Or the jazz singer, more like jazz killer. Let's see. Emails. We got emails, and we have two. This one came from Preston, who wrote in and said, how have I never heard of this movie? It is directed by Peter Jackson. Maybe it is well known, and I have never heard of it. The movie is called Meet the Feebles, 1989.
Oh, yeah.
I never saw Meet the Feebles. I have no idea what this is. It looks like a kid's thing, like little puppets.
Yeah.
Let's see here. A bunch of New Zealand people
it's a bunch of Muppets and stuff. I think they actually repurposed that hippo, because I remember this back in the day because I watched a show that had a frog in it. What was it called? And it also had the hippo in it. And
never even heard of
I don't
this.
remember much about this movie, but yeah, Meet the Feebles.
Is it?
It's
making me do an age check, so it must be gross or it must be violent or something.
Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So it's like Muppets, but like rated R gross,
right?
Which is what he did a lot of back then,
right?
Oh, and there's a sex scene. Fantastic. You know what? This would be
a sexy scene.
God, this looks so bizarre.
It looks really weird.
How bizarre!
It's so weird to me. The stuff he did, the stuff that dude did before Lord of the Rings, it's head scratcher how he got picked. It's to this day.
I just love all of this is kind of like what I like about the what is it called? Alana Ramirez. No, what's the Perez? What's the name of the film?
Emilia Perez.
Emilia Perez. Thank you. Here's the description on this one.
Trip.
Yeah, 1989 New Zealand adult puppet musical black comedy film.
Wow.
How many genres can you straddle?
Damn, dude.
Since you and I recorded our first Oscars bonus sack, Brian, I have been talking to friends about the Oscars, and
friends,
they all hate Emilia Perez. They hate everyone I talk to.
I've never talked to a single person who's seen it who didn't hate it except Ibbott. You're the only person I've talked to.
Oh, really? Wow. I wonder why. I wonder why I liked it. What I don't like what the actress, what she's been representing and how she's been, things she said online, and maybe that affected, because I found out about that after I saw the movie. But
everybody I've talked to is just like, everyone's going to think that I have all these ulterior motives, but I just think this movie's bad. That seems to be the general consensus. I've been hearing. It's really surprised me because you were kind of glowing on it. You seem like you really
liked it. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what it is, but I really did like it.
Yeah,
it's got the biggest difference between the Rotten Tomatoes score and the audience score that I've ever seen for an Oscar contender.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the 70s on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not as high as most Oscar contenders.
No, 70s for
the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Okay.
And then the audience score keeps moving around in the teens, like 13 to 17%.
I don't doubt that a lot of that is affected by the actress's comments on social media.
Think review bombing then?
Could be.
I think there could be a lot of that. Yeah,
could be a bunch of that. Yeah, a lot of.
I don't think it deserves the teens. I mean, I really liked it. It certainly hasn't been my favorite of all the things I've seen. I've still got maybe 2 or 3 left to see, but everything else I can think of, like Conclave and Honora and A Complete Unknown and Brutalist, I did like more than that. But I still...
A good friend of mine who's Mexican sought me out to tell me about how bad the Spanish is in Emilia Perez. And he also...
that's what I hear, especially from Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who had to learn Spanish for the role.
He also told me that he hates The Brutalist because of AI. I don't know what...
Really?
I don't think it was very evident that AI was used in The Brutalist.
I don't remember.
They'd have to be very specific about that. Like, people are mad at Fantastic Four because of the poster being AI generated, but I don't know if anything in the movie is.
I can't think of where would they use AI in Brutalist.
They apparently used generative voice like Scott does with Fake Fletcher to make the principals sound more Hungarian.
Oh, they tweak their accents?
Auto-tuning then. Okay,
interesting.
Sure, Jesus.
Yeah, like that.
Well, it's gonna be some uncomfortable years.
That's
if people decide.
Oh yeah,
how this is a bad idea.
See, that's not taking somebody's job away, right? They're just basically making it sound like
it's kind of like
Adrian Brody is Hungarian.
Some people just blanket that shit.
Upset about AI and Photoshop. Right?
Yeah, most people just blanket it. They just blanket it with. They just say the term AI and they think it is a catch-all, and that's dangerous. I'm as big a critic as anybody about generative AI and who gets credit and who got screwed and all that. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it for what it is, which is complicated and vast and not nearly as one note as people think. So who knows what he means?
Hungarian is an effed up language anyway. If they needed to make it sound a little bit more legit with AI, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're just finding out that filmmakers have been using computers to change the movie,
to enhance music,
the history of visual effects would like a word. Because
sure, exactly.
That's my whole point. Is like they're putting it all under this one tight little tent, and it's just not. It's so
Somebody
short-sighted.
didn't hand edit every frame to pull off that visual effect. They used a computer.
Yeah. Also, they just need better names for these things. It's just more granular. It's like, oh, they're using AI in video games, dude. They've been using AI in video games since video games. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I got bad news for everybody. You've now lumped it all together, and now everything's hard to explain. It's so stupid. We're dumb. People are dumb.
Humans rule.
We're bad at scale. Humans are so bad at scale. I can't stand it sometimes.
I remember thinking when my grandmother was speaking Hungarian to me, sometimes it was done with AI. So I can't fault this movie for doing whatever it needed to do.
Doing whatever it had to get there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Scott,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, did you have a grade for the score for this movie?
Yes, I wrote it down and then passed it right up. So thank you for bringing it up. I gave it a Tosh, a TOSH for too old school Hollywood for me. I didn't like the vibe.
Okay.
I don't think it worked.
Yeah.
It's Gabriel Yared, and he worked with Minghella on many movies, and he got nominated for 3 different Oscars for Best Score. That it was this one, it was The English Patient, and Cold Mountain, and he won for The English Patient. I want you to know, because I've done this, if you take Yared's scores for The English Patient and then The Talented Mr. Ripley and Cold Mountain and listen to them all in a row, you will be exhausted. He is such an exhausting music writer.
Right.
It's just, there's something about that music, especially Cold Mountain, but English Patient, Talented Mr. Ripley, very moving, very excellent music. It just, it's drawn out and it's sad and so on.
Yeah, it eats me up. I'm not a fan. I don't like it, but whatever. To each their own. Let's get to the emails here. I got a couple of these here. Filmsack.com. I already read one of them. Let's do the second one. Here's this one. Hello, Sack dudes. Brendan Mueller here. He says, long-time listener, first-time texter, caller, emailer, etc. First of all, you guys are amazing. The show is my must-listen to every week. I look forward to it and appreciate the time and obvious passion that you put into the format and the discussions. Just tons of fun anyway and always. Whether I've seen the movie or not, though I do try to watch the films each week, I have not seen them all, like Saturn 3. Good Lord, what a streaming pile of poo. That sucked. Anyway, recommendation for sacking one that I've always loved to watch, but have not seen. John Carter. Or no, wait. Have not wanted to watch, but have not. Or have wanted to watch, but have not seen. That is what he said. Right. John Carter of Mars. Apparently streaming on Disney Plus. Anywho, you guys are the best. Brian Dunaway, you are my. He says, Brian Dunaway, you are my spirit animal. Peace out.
Oh, Mueller.
Yeah, I'd like to. I never saw it, so I'd love to finally see it.
I'm in the same boat. I watched a little bit of it when it first was added to Disney Plus because I was curious.
Taylor Kitsch thing, right?
The books or anything like that. Have you done any of that?
Comics,
kind of stuff?
some of the comics, yeah.
Yeah, the comics, yeah.
Never the books though. Like the actual. I guess they're pulp novels in the 50s or something.
Yeah,
or 40s.
Right.
Never read any of that, but. Like the director was Andrew Stanton, dude's like an all-star over at Pixar. I really like Taylor Kitsch and Willem Dafoe is in everything, so of course he's in this.
They made part of a hot action movie summer because it was a summer movie, right, that year. So,
yeah.
My question is, where do we get the name of Mars on the movie?
Of Mars?
Carter.
I think
Is that the name of a book?
What's on his business card? Hi, I'm John Carter of Mars.
I'm pretty sure you're right, Brian.
John Carters.
I think John Carter of Mars is the book. Is one at least one of the book titles. Yeah. That's why I keep saying that because I think the comics I read also had that on there. Yeah, there it is. John Carter of Mars, fictional Virginian soldier. Soldier acts in the initial protagonist of the story. Blah blah blah. Edward Rice Burroughs wrote the original. He's a veteran of the Civil War. Is transported to the planet Mars. Oh, I didn't realize it was from the Civil War. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, a lot of people really like it, like the old stuff.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything but the comics, so it'd be fun. We should do it. I would have no problem with that. Check out this
Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Look at this old art here.
You like the Tarzans, do you?
You love the Tarzan. See, look at that.
Look at that. Wow.
Look at him. He's like,
I'm going to protect my back with this cape, but my front wide open.
And I won't have nipples, damn it. No nipples.
No, they fell off when I entered Mars's orbit.
That would be.
Do we want to sack an Andrew Stanton movie?
Yeah.
That's a tough question for me.
Not for me. It's easy. Okay. Let's do it.
Okay.
Look, most of his movies are animated. I think all of them. He's only done one live action movie, right? It's this one.
Yeah. Everything else is Dory, Nemo, Toy Story.
And this has a lot of CG in it too.
Yeah, he did.
As long as it doesn't have any AI.
Oh, I take it back. He did an episode of Three Body Problem for All Mankind. Tales of the Loop. Better Call Saul. The guy's been doing some TV.
Nice.
Yeah, that's very cool. All right, well. One way or the other, that's coming. We're going to watch that, I think. I think we should.
All right.
Yeah, that's it for those. Thanks for that, everybody. Filmsack@gmail.com, or you can send us a text at 801-471-0462. And if you'd like to, you can support us on Patreon, like these brand new folks. Chris Edwards, Mike P., Chris Haythornthwaite, And finally, A to the R. These guys are brand new folks. Yep, they're all joined us here recently. We really appreciate it. I've seen these names in lots of Patreons. Very nice to see their support for Film Sack. If you'd like to be like them and get no ads or commercials of any kind, pre-show content every week, monthly host episodes, and art in the mail, the list never ends. Join today, patreon.com/filmsack. Our next movie will be, I don't know.
The Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, yeah.
No.
We're going to go quite a bit further back in time.
And I've seen that with you guys. Jeebus.
It's back when Bennigan's
90s. No, which
2002.
2002. Okay.
It's when Bennigan's was still a place you could get a Monte Cristo.
Okay, that's right. The actual sandwich of Monte Cristo. Yeah.
I think it came up last week because we were talking about how there's a new one in Spanish and everybody's raving about it. But I don't want to do that one because not because people are raving about it. Because
Henry Cavill and Luis Guzman, Guy Pearce.
Which one are we watching? Make sure I'm getting it right.
Henry Cavill.
So it is the Guy Pearce one then? Is that?
Yes. It's definitely not Henry Cavill though. Oh, Jim Caviezel, you mean? Who said Henry Cavill? I was like, is he 5 in this? He must be.
He's in there.
Henry Cavill's in here.
Is he in this?
Albert Mondego. Yeah.
What?
Oh my gosh, how old was he here? He got to be like 12 or something. Oh yeah, he is. He's very young.
He's Guy Pearce's kid.
Okay, that makes sense. Wild.
Where you'll find it.
And he's wicked. I have always been amazed that Scott never talks about this movie, so I'm forcing him to watch it.
No, I love this movie. I'm a big fan. Richard Harris.
Yeah, I know you are, and I want to talk to you about it. There's something about Kevin Reynolds where when he's directing a movie, even if something is going wrong, it still comes out very entertaining.
Yeah. I would argue this is my favorite movie of his. I think it's very good.
Oh, well, no, it's not. But I mean, he made Waterworld.
Yeah, but if I'm picking what's a better movie,
this
it's
thing
this
has
one.
got quite the audience rating. Wow, really is a
people like it.
Yeah,
we're watching something good.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
We'll see. I don't know. You could hate it. You could.
I liked it.
All right.
Michael Wincott is in it. That's all
Apple
you need.
Music. What rhymes with Monte Cristo?
Find a song about a sandwich. That's what I want you to do.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Monte Cristo. What are you going to do? That's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find it. You always do.
I got this. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
you're a pro. You know what you're doing. Anyway, that's next week. We're doing that. Watch it on Hulu. Or Disney Hulu if you got both.
Right, Max. It's the whole. They're all bundled up now.
Yeah, everybody's everybody's sleeping with everybody now on these streaming services. So
Paramount Positive.
Yep, and good luck to whoever you're rooting for the Super Bowl. Everybody, it's tomorrow.
That's right.
Where I'm rooting for the wings and the cheese and the food. My wife's
I could never root for the Eagles. Anything. I was thinking
it's so hard with the fans being such dicks, but
what could be the situation? And it's definitely not this. Like the as much as you're tired of the Chiefs, being tired of somebody doesn't make them villains, right?
I mean, I'm rooting for the Eagles, the team. I'm not rooting for the Eagles, the fans.
Yeah, no.
Can I do that?
Yes.
Is it okay to do that?
Yes, I think it is. I think you
I'm going to the Chris Brown's house. He's from Philly. This is his team. He's inviting us over to basically to be there to commiserate at the end of the game.
I'm so sick of the Chiefs. I need someone else to win something.
Too.
I don't think they're gonna win, but I'd like them to win. The Eagles.
I would have so loved to see the Bills and the Lions in the Super Bowl this year, but.
Yeah. Nope. We got to watch Taylor Swift up in a window.
Hollywood had other plans.
That's right.
That'd be very interesting. And if you had told me like 7 years ago that in early 2025, Kendrick Lamar would be this freaking ever present, I just like, what? Who are we talking about?
I'm down with it. I like him a lot. So it is
incredible how every weekend he's winning Grammys, he's releasing new music that's just chopping people up. I love it.
It's better than Drake. That's how I put it. If you want somebody who's super in the limelight and rap right now, better than Drake. Put him in there.
Also, Kendrick Lamar, really cool glasses. Yeah, he's good at picking out glasses frames.
That's right.
Okay. As good as Bowen Yang.
We were talking about that. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I think Bowen Yang is on point with his glasses choice.
Awesome. All right. Well, enjoy all of those things that we just mentioned, including Taylor Swift staring out at a camera and being pissed that they're filming her the entire time. That's going to be great. That's this weekend. Next weekend, we're doing that other movie, Counter Monte Cristo. Between now and then, filmsack.com is your place to go. That'll do it for us, for me, for Brian, and for Randy.
Just an undercoat.
We'll see you next time.
Once upon a time, there was a hero named you. Find the next step of your quest at frogpants.com.
You don't have to clean up!